Hello, this is Reverend Erin-Ashley Carty, and I've got a really cool mini-series for you that will release over the next few days if you're listening to this live. If you're listening to this after the fact, then simply browse through the videos. You should be able to find all 3 videos in the series. So, of course, I'm the founder of Spiritual Mechanic, and this is the Psychic Mechanics mini course series. I am going to go over the 3 keys to tapping into and developing your intuition and psychic abilities. So today's video is key 1, receiving. So let's dive on in. So what you're going to learn in this video, the 3 keys of developing your psychic abilities, the myths of receiving intuitive information, what happens when we don't develop our receiving muscles, hint, it's not pretty, how to identify and develop your specific receiving muscles, and I'm going to give you a challenge. It's going to be challenge number 1 in the Psychic Mechanics mini course. So let's dive on in and get to the 3 keys. All right, the 3 keys of psychic development. First key, key 1, is receiving information from the universe. So this means that you are in tune with your body, mind, and you are receiving information from the universe. Now, everyone receives information. Whether we're in tune with it or not is the real question. So in this particular video, I'm going to teach you how to be in tune with it and start to understand how to expand that awareness. The second key, which is what we'll be talking about in the next video, is how to accurately interpret the information from the big U. So first you receive the information, then your job is to accurately interpret the information, and that is so you can implement, which is key number 3. Key 3 is trusting and acting on the information. If you have information that you understand that is accurately interpreted, but you do not follow through, you don't actually take the appropriate actions on it, then it basically gets rendered useless because you're not taking action, you're not doing anything with it, and eventually, over time, if this happens over and over and over, eventually the intuition will start to wither, or the vibration will lower, and the intuitive hits that you do get won't be as fun or as helpful. So that's why it's so important to work with the 3 keys. So let's get into the myths about receiving information. So number 1, it's a gift only some people are born with. No, my friend. If you have a pulse, you have an intuition. It's a natural sense of the body mind. So we sense our environment and we use our sight, we use our sense of touch, we use our sense of smell and taste, and all of those things are part of what allows us to understand our environment and make decisions. We also have an intuitive sense, a 6th sense, if you will. It's a bit more complicated than that, but let's stick with me here. You know, it's an extra sense that allows us to feel through and decide the next best course of action. That's our 6th sense. Some people like to call it instinct. I prefer intuition and psychic ability. Myth number 2, intuitive hits cannot be controlled. They come when they come, and we're kind of at the mercy of them. While you can't actually turn off your intuition, that's accurate, but you absolutely can guide it so you can receive more information as you need it. And so what you want to do, if you want to develop your intuition, then you want to practice controlling your intuition so you can feel or know or see or whatever, receive guidance in your life and whenever you need it. So not just, whenever it just happens to grace you with its presence, but actually when you're in the face of something that you aren't sure what the next step is, you can tune in and receive information. All right, so that's the truth. The next myth number 3, if my intuition doesn't come to me like the psychics I see on TV or read about, I must not be intuitive. All right, this is a huge myth. Everyone has a unique psychic language. Everyone. Intuitive and psychic nudges are always filtered through our body-mind system, but they may not look like everyone else's. And this is for a lot of reasons. I'm going to break it down just a bit. So think of it this way. Everyone has senses, but we're usually attuned to one sense more than any other. For instance, some of us are attuned most to our sense of sight, so we have vivid dreams. And so that is going to give us visual information from the universe. Some of us are in tune with our emotions the best. They come through very strongly, and we know what we're feeling most of the time. That can be a way that your intuition filters through. So, if you are looking at the people on TV or on the internet who receive information a specific way, and then you're looking at your own life and you don't receive it that way, then it's easy to come to the conclusion that you are not intuitive or psychic, even though the truth might be that it's simply coming through a different way for you. So if you're looking for it one way and it's coming through another way, then your awareness is in the wrong spot, and then you miss the intuitive hit that's already here, already now, because you're looking at it, you're looking for it somewhere where it's not. Okay, so those are the myths of intuitive development. So let's go ahead and talk about what happens if we don't develop it. Now, there are many ways to develop the intuition, and so I'm just going to talk about some of the signs of not developing it. So our psychic gifts are there to guide us to our best path, our highest happiness, and to whatever we resonate with on a soul level, our heart's desires, if you will. And if we don't have access to, or if we don't develop our intuition, we can feel stifled and unfulfilled. We will feel separated from our life purpose. We'll feel anxious about all of our decisions because we don't have a way to really bounce back the ideas and really make sure on the deepest, most spiritual, intuitive level that they are the right decisions for us. If we don't have access to develop our intuition, we can feel the need to get other people's opinions constantly because we don't have trust and faith in the universe or our own ability to find answers. We can find it hard to trust ourselves. By the way, just a quick note on getting other people's opinions. It's perfectly okay to get other people's opinions and to reach out for help. I'm not trying to say that you should never reach out for help and you should always listen to your intuition and ignore everyone else in the universe. I'm saying that your intuition generally should have the last word on what you do and what you don't do. So getting advice is beautiful and wonderful and aligned, but at the end of the day, your intuition will guide you to the perfect decision for you for now. All right, so then we find it hard to trust ourselves if we don't develop it. And then we can feel out of alignment or off path, but without feeling like we can correct that state. Now, just a quick thing here. Everyone gets off path from time to time, myself included. So this isn't about always being exactly on path and never deviating. What I'm actually referring to is that feeling like, oh, well, I'm kind of off path here and I would like to get back on path, but I have no idea how to do that, and now I just feel helpless. Like, that's what happens when we're not really attuned to our intuition. Before I move on, I want to make a few things very clear. Some of us develop our intuitions intuitively, which is fun and fantastic. So if this is you, great, keep up the great work, keep doing it. Others of us need to take specific actions to focus on and develop. This is the camp that I am personally in. In order for me to develop my own intuition, I must take action regularly to develop and strengthen it. And that's been true for me my whole life. It's not necessarily something that comes naturally. Hearing my intuition and knowing exactly what to do is not the way it works for me. Now, again, if that is how it works for you, please honor that. Do not create a problem that's not there. If you're like me, however, stay tuned. We're going to talk about how you can develop it on your own and practice it in a systemized, structured, specific way so you can start getting the results that you really want and you can feel that peace with the decisions you're making in your life. All right. How to identify your receiving muscles. Hopefully by now you can see why working with the intuition is important. So let's talk about how to identify the receiving muscles, because obviously what you want is to be on path and have the intuition at your beck and call, so to speak, and be able to really get the answers that you need when you need them so that you feel like you're living your life to your highest potential, so you feel at peace with where your life is going. So that's why we want to identify our receiving muscle. Your intuition will filter through your body-mind system in multiple ways, and everyone's just a little bit different. So I'm about to talk about the 4 most common ways that it filters through. Now, please note there are many other ways that information will filter through. But I'm going to talk about these main 4. Number 1, because almost everyone has one of these 4. I've yet to meet anyone who doesn't have any of the 4. And so we want to stick with that because otherwise I'd be listing about 100 and that would just get really complicated really quickly. And this is a mini course, so it's not quite appropriate to go through 100 here. So let's talk about the 4 most common, and we're going to focus on those today. All right, so visual. Your receiving muscle is visual. This means that you can see things clearly in your mind's eye. You tend to be a visual learner and you have vivid dreams. Now, we like to call this clairvoyance. If it's audio, you can clearly hear your thoughts in your head. You're an auditory learner and you tend to get songs stuck in your head and you can hear the lyrics and the music, etc. This is called clairaudience. So that means clear hearing. Feeling. You can clearly feel sensations in your body most of the time. You're a kinesthetic learner, and kinesthetic just means you learn by being in motion in some way, actually going through the motions, moving your physical body. You probably pace when you're trying to learn something. And it also, if you're a feeling intuitive, then you feel emotions deeply. This is clairsentience. By the way, if you are an empath, that is a type of clairsentient. So an empath is an emotional clairsentient. They dominantly experience the emotions of themselves and others. So that is a type of clairsentience. Knowing. You can access your feeling of knowingness fairly easily. You are a kinesthetic learner, which means, again, you learn through movement and you find yourself confident when making decisions, even if you feel anxious later. In fact, feeling anxious after you made the decision is one of the hallmarks of this particular intuitive style. This is also known as claircognizance, which means clear knowing. And this tends to filter through as clear reason and a knowing just because you know. There may not be a reason that you can cite. All right, so those are the 4 major receiving muscles. We call them the 4 major modalities, intuitive modalities. All right, so let's talk about a quick beginner mistake here. Beginners will often assume that they need to have only one receiving muscle, but you can have a mix. You can have 2 or 3 or all of them. Don't discount the information just because it comes in a mix. You are a unique individual, and so it's going to filter through uniquely for you. And so the intuitive style will reflect that. So it may come through only one or it may come through all 4. So just know that it's going to be one or all of those. All right, so let's talk about how to develop your receiving muscles. You want to, this is so simple, but I think because it's simple, people will often neglect to do it. So don't be like the people who neglect to do this. Actually do this. Write out what you receive, what intuitive nudges you have, regardless of whether it makes sense to you or whether you know what actions to take or not take because of it. And yeah, it really is this simple. And awareness is the key for developing your receiving muscle, which is why you want to write it out. If you are serious about developing your intuition, then I highly recommend you get a notebook and call it your Intuition Development Notebook. All right, this is what you're going to do. Intuition Development Notebook. Go ahead and pause this if you're serious about possibly doing the challenge that's coming up. Pause this video. Go grab a sheet of paper. Unpause it when you're done. Okay, I'm assuming that if you're serious about doing this, that you have your sheet of paper in front of you or possibly your intuitive notebook if you've committed to that level. So here's what we're going to do. This is the Psychic Mechanics Challenge number 1. For this challenge, you will be doing a minor meditation exercise right now. And so what you're going to do, I'm going to run you through the steps and then I am going to actually walk you through this meditation. So you're going to allow yourself to relax for a few seconds and then you're going to release the stress and then I'm going to walk you through an imagination exercise to see which of the muscles you have. So allow yourself to relax and focus on your breath. For the next 3 breaths, allow yourself to imagine releasing any tension or stress. As best as possible, simply focus on this moment, on what is present for you, on releasing the thoughts and feelings and tapping in to your feeling of peace. In your mind's eye, imagine you are on a beach. Can you see the beach in your imagination? Can you hear the waves crashing on the shore? The birds in the air? Can you feel the sun and the gentle wind on your skin? Can you feel the intuitive knowing that you can visit this exercise again in the future? When you're ready, release a breath and come back to normal awareness. This isn't a time-consuming process. So all we're doing is we're testing which of the particular psychic skills you have. Psychic muscle, so to speak. So if you could, in your mind's eye, see the beach in front of you, then you have the muscle for clairvoyance, and that is clear seeing. So that's one you'll want to focus on developing. If you could hear the sounds on the beach, then you have the muscle for clairaudience. If you could feel the sun or wind on your skin, then you have clairsentience. If you could feel the emotion of relaxation or peace, then that's also a sign of clairsentience and possibly being an empath. If you could feel certainty, or you simply knew any of the previous things were there, then you have claircognizance. For instance, if you didn't see the beach in your mind's eye, but you had this knowing that it was there, or if you didn't hear the sounds on the beach, but you knew they were there in your imagination, then that means that you have claircognizance. So that is just the quick thing to test which of the four you have. Now remember, you may have all four, you might have one of the four, or anything in between. So now to you, share your experiences in the Spiritual Mechanic Facebook group. There's a link below, or if you're not on Facebook, go ahead and share it in a comment. And by the way, next time we're going to be talking all about interpretation. So look for that video. If you're listening to this pretty much live, then it will be to you tomorrow. If you are going through this at your own pace after the fact, then you can simply scroll through the videos. It should be there right after this. All right. So after you comment, just get ready for tomorrow's exercise. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for watching, and make sure you're subscribed to either the YouTube channel or my email list if you want to get the next mini lesson. Go to spiritualmechanic.com to subscribe to the email list. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.